Well, we're almost on the weekend, which for most people is good. They can, not everyone, but most people can put work behind them, just get on with the weekend. And then, just like Garfield, a lot of people will not look forward to Monday. I think I mentioned in the past that my colleague, Reverend Lisa, always looks forward to Monday. She used to do her exercises on Monday for the gym, and then she used to look forward to that. But when that switched to Sunday, she said she still looks forward to Monday. I can understand why some people don't look forward to Monday. I've had a couple of jobs in my life where weren't the greatest, but then I learned the secret, which was to keep holding in my mind what it was that I wanted and to be grateful for what I got. And it seemed to work out well. Here is the reading for today, Friday, the 17th of October. They used to say in this year of grace, 2025, but it's always a year of grace when you look at it that way. First quote is from a really famous New Thought Science of Mind personage from the 20th century, Raymond Charles Barker, who believed in what's called hardball metaphysics. When he prayed and he didn't expect not to get an answer. So this title, Prayer as a Demand, really fits Raymond Charles Barker. To him, prayer was a demand. He says, emerge from the consciousness that gropes in the dark for bits and pieces and behold the light within you. Emerge from the consciousness that gropes in the dark for bits and pieces and behold the light within you. Which is another way of saying, like Jesus did, the kingdom of heaven is within you. The kingdom of God is within you. Raymond Charles Barker. And this is from Ernest Holmes and called It Can Happen to You on page 1959, but in a good way. Page 49, It Can Happen to You, published in 1959. And this is what Ernest Holmes has to say. One fact often difficult to realize is this, that you are always, in some way or other, making a demand on the universe. Obvious demands may be illustrated by snapping on a light switch, allowing the flow of electricity, planting a seed, eating of food. Each of these acts calls forth the creative energy and power that is at the center of all things, and there are definite results. But there are other ways you make demands on the universe, ways that are not so tangible or obvious. Your thoughts are demands. A prayer is a demand. Such a demand is just as specific, just as sure of fulfillment as the fact that the light will light and the seed will grow. He says, when you feel that certain things are matters of choice or luck, if you will but carefully examine your patterns of thought, the demands you have made on the universe, you will find that you have received what you have asked for. And then it can happen to you. 1959, Ernest Holmes, page 49. And this is Reverend Jesse Jennings. When speaking a prayer treatment out loud to an audience, legendary teacher Raymond Charles Barker might well begin, or he often did begin, if you like, with, subconscious mind, now hear this. When his student and colleague, Dr. Stuart Grayson, published a book in 1989 called The 10 Demandments of Prosperity, there was some pushback. It sounded a bit disrespectful, i.e. to the 10 Commandments. It isn't at all, Stuart explained. When we realize we're not dealing with a reluctant agency that's on the other end of the demand, there's nothing to oppose the creative impulse. So the tenor of our word rises from contrite request to simple state claim. And I know this sounds, I don't know what the actual word is for it, but it doesn't sound right to a lot of people who've been brought up in standard Christianity, standard Islam, standard Judaism. I can't really compare it with other faiths, but those three in particular. But it isn't. If you remember, Jesus never pleaded at all when he was asking for something, whether it was a miracle, like changing wine into water, raising the dead. And as I've mentioned quite a few times, when Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, he didn't ask. He didn't plead. He didn't say, God, I know you always hear me. Would you please raise Lazarus from the dead? No, he simply said, Lazarus, come out. Lazarus, come out. He demanded. Why did he demand? Because he was demanding that his own subconscious mind realized that it was one with the universal allness, and therefore he was able to not plead or beg, but just to state. And that's what he did. He had complete faith. In other words, he had complete belief. His thoughts and his feelings were aligned, and he just knew. You know, I think there are different stages of our interface with spirit, if you like. Some people say interface with God, with spirit. Some people say the universe, but to me, the universe isn't big enough. It's quite obvious that if God is all there is, or spirit is all there is, and we're expressions of that, then once we state something, it's stated in the divine subconscious mind, and that's why it comes to pass. Our thoughts and our feelings actually put that to work. So Raymond Charles Barker, yes, hardball metaphysics, he never pleaded. Jesus never pleaded. If people who had great success never pleaded, they just stated what it was that they wanted, then what do you think we should do? We should state what it is that we want, remembering that it is not our power that brings these things to pass. It is our thoughts and feelings placed into the universal mind, the mind of God, that actually allows these things to be brought about. So there you are. We don't do pleading prayer. Affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment, states what it is that we want. And we believe that what we state is coming to pass. But we don't believe that it's our power that brings it to pass. We believe it's the universal power, the power of God that brings it about. I now clear my mind of all doubt and fear and turn toward the great giver of life. See, it's not our power, but it is our intention that sets stuff in mind, stuff in motion. I now clear my mind of all doubt and fear and turn toward the great giver of life. That is my contribution for today. As I forgot to mention yesterday, my colleague, Reverend Lisa Ryan, is live on Creative Life Spiritual Center's Facebook page every day at 9:15. So let's end by doing this, by taking a deep breath and letting it go slowly. And just know with me that there is one life, one presence, one power that flows through all things, that flows through the universe, the multiverse, the omniverse. It is flowing through you and it is flowing through me. And in this oneness, I claim peace for each and every person who is looking today, listening today, or tomorrow, or whenever they listen. I claim that this is truth, and I'm grateful for this truth, and I release it for that wonderful universal power to bring this thing to pass. And so it is. So until next time, namaste.